FromSoft never misses with their location designs. Today I'm gonna list my favorite and least favorite areas in Soulsborne games. Except for Bloodborne, I haven't played it sadly. Subscribe and watch the video to the end. Or else, I hope you step on Legos plus having your food cold and your drink warm, plus no knee surgery, plus to breathe manually for the rest of your life, plus to... Starting from the original Demon's Souls, Tower of Latria. The Tower of Latria is a grim, atmospheric location in Demon's Souls, known for its dark, oppressive design and eerie ambiance. It is part of the game's Archstone of the Tower Queen and serves as one of the most memorable settings due to its unsettling theme and challenging enemies. The Tower of Latria is a massive, labyrinthine prison complex surrounded by a haunting, gothic atmosphere. The area is filled with narrow corridors, decrepit cells, eerie greenish lighting, and ominous chanting that adds to the tension. It has 3 main levels. 1. Prison of Hope. The first area, a foreboding dungeon filled with rows of prison cells holding tortured prisoners or the remains of those who perished. 2. Upper Latria. Features dark walkways, menacing towers, and grotesque creatures like the gargoyles. 3. Fool's Idol Cathedral. A grand, eerie church where the boss Fool's Idol resides, surrounded by cult-like worshippers. The Tower of Latria embodies themes of despair, madness, and imprisonment, reflecting the cruel experiments conducted by the Queen and her followers. Its design highlights FromSoftware's mastery in creating dark and immersive environments. And my and everyone's least favorite, Valley of Defilement. The Valley of Defilement is one of the most harrowing and grotesque locations in Demon's Souls, representing despair, decay, and human suffering. It is part of the Archstone of the Chieftain. The Valley of Defilement is a sprawling, dark, and nightmarish swamp filled with filth, disease, and corruption. The area feels oppressive and claustrophobic, with uneven terrain, precarious wooden scaffolding, and a constant sense of danger. The air is heavy with decay, and the visuals reinforce this with rotting structures, murky waters, and piles of waste and bones. It is a manifestation of humanity's darkest moments, showcasing the suffering of outcasts and those cast aside by society. The constant sound of dripping water, buzzing insects, and groans from the enemies makes it an unsettling experience. Dark Souls 1. The Duke's Archives is a pivotal and enigmatic location in Dark Souls, serving as a combination of a grand library and a fortress filled with dangerous magic and hostile enemies. It is located in the region of Anor Londo and leads to the Crystal Cave, the lair of Seath the Scaleless, one of the game's 4 major bosses. The Duke's Archives is a towering and labyrinthine structure filled with massive bookshelves that stretch toward the vaulted ceilings, giving it a monumental and ancient feel. Magical blue light and glowing crystals that hint at Seath's experiments with sorcery and his quest for immortality. Mechanical staircases and lifts, creating a sense of disorientation and complexity in its multi-level design. A constant undercurrent of unease, enhanced by eerie music and the knowledge of Seath's sinister presence. The area feels both regal and menacing, a testament to Seath's intellect and his descent into madness. The Prison Tower, early in the area after facing an unavoidable fight with Seath, leads to imprisonment in a tall, eerie tower. The prison is guarded by Pasakas, grotesque, snake-like creatures created through Seath's experiments. These beings roam the lower levels, making the escape tense and harrowing. A haunting alarm bell signals danger and intensifies the already oppressive atmosphere. Crystal Cave. This mystical area features invisible walkways, massive crystals, and crystalline enemies. It culminates in the battle with Seath himself, and it has one of the worst runbacks in the entire game. The Duke's Archives is a place of forbidden knowledge and madness. It reflects Seath's intellect and his descent into depravity as he delved into unnatural experimentation. Tomb of the Giants. The Tomb of the Giants in Dark Souls is arguably one of the most frustrating and poorly designed areas in the game. The tomb is a pitch-black abyss, forcing players to rely on specific items like the skull lantern or cast light to see even a few feet ahead. This makes navigation tedious and unnecessarily punishing, as one wrong step leads to a fatal drop. Instead of creating tension, the darkness feels like a cheap gimmick, adding frustration rather than fear. The layout is a confusing mess of narrow ledges, steep drops, and invisible paths. It lacks the intelligent interconnectivity seen in other areas of the game. Players are essentially fumbling in the dark, with no real sense of direction or purpose. The area is filled with oversized skeleton enemies that are difficult to fight on the cramped ledges. Their attacks can easily knock players into the abyss, making combat more about luck than skill. Adding insult to injury, the skeleton dogs are some of the most obnoxious enemies in the game, combining high damage, speed, and aggression in an area where you can barely see them coming. While other areas in Dark Souls feature intricate design and haunting beauty, the Tomb of the Giants is bland and monotonous. It's just endless darkness punctuated by bone piles, offering nothing memorable or visually appealing. Dark Souls 2. The best area is with no doubt Majula. Okay, just kidding. It's the Lost Bastille. Welcome to Dark Souls 2's version of "Wouldn't it be fun to get ambushed in every corner?" This place is all about bleak vibes, narrow walkways, and enemies ready to knock you off a ledge the moment you relax. You get flown in by a giant eagle after defeating the pursuer. Congratulations on winning that fight. Now here's your reward: a depressing prison fortress. The moment you land, it's clear this place is bad news. Cracked stone walls, relentless wind howling through broken towers, and that eerie moonlight reflecting off the sea. The whole place screams abandoned and cursed, but instead of ghosts, you've got homicidal prisoners to worry about. The Lost Bastille is basically a maze of narrow ledges, broken staircases, and traps. Every chest feels like a gamble, and every doorway is an invitation for something to hit you from behind. You're constantly thinking, am I even going the right way? Spoiler, probably not. It's this oppressive, lonely vibe that hits you hard. You can feel the weight of its history. This was once a prison for the damned, and now it's just a ruin filled with echoes of despair. It's creepy, it's atmospheric, and it's pretty cool once you stop dying every 5 minutes. Frigid Outskirts. I played this DLC on the console of a friend of mine. The Frigid Outskirts, also known as From Software's cruel joke on anyone who thought Dark Souls 2 couldn't get any worse. If you're here, congratulations. You've unlocked the worst part of the Crown of the Ivory King DLC. You arrive, and immediately it's like, oh cool, a snowy wasteland. This might be atmospheric. Then the blizzard hits, and you realize you can't see more than 2 feet in front of you. Is there a path? Who knows? Are you going the right way? Doubt it. Did you sign up for this? Absolutely not. And that's just the first 5 minutes. The blizzard comes and goes in waves, giving you just enough time between whiteouts to see nothing helpful. You'll spend most of your time wandering aimlessly, squinting at the horizon and thinking, is that a landmark? Nope, just another rock. Pro tip: don't run too fast, you might sprint straight off a cliff. Oh, you thought the environment was your biggest problem? Meet the murder reindeer. Out of nowhere, these ghostly, lightning-shooting demon deer will charge at you with the speed of a freight train. You can't see them coming because of the snowstorm, and by the time you hear the thunder, it's already too late. They're fast, they're relentless, and there's always more of them. It's like Dark Souls decided to hold a surprise rodeo in the middle of your misery. Where am I supposed to go? Is the only question you'll ask for the next hour. There are no clear paths, no helpful landmarks, and no map. You just kind of wander, hoping you'll stumble upon the boss fog before the reindeer stomp you into oblivion. Sometimes you'll see a friendly glowing light in the distance and think, finally, a bonfire. Spoiler, it's not a bonfire. It's a shiny item placed there specifically to lure you into more reindeer attacks. The true boss of the area is the Frigid Outskirts itself. If you survive this nightmare, you're officially a Dark Souls 2 veteran. You've endured the worst the game has to offer, and honestly, you deserve a medal for your patience, or at least a warm drink, because you're probably sick of snow forever. Dark Souls 3, my beloved game after Elden Ring. Erethil of the Boreal Valley. The part of Dark Souls 3 where you go from this is fine to holy crap, this is gorgeous and also terrifying. It's easily one of the most visually stunning areas in the game, but don't get too comfortable. For every breathtaking view, there's something lurking around the corner ready to ruin your day. You step out of that dank catacomb and are immediately hit with one of the most jaw-dropping sights in the game. A moonlit city of spires, frost, and eerie blue light. It's like walking into a gothic snow globe. Except instead of festive cheer, it's filled with things that want to stab, bite, or freeze you to death. It's beautiful enough to make you forget how much Dark Souls has traumatized you, for about 5 seconds. Then the enemies remind you. Before you even get into the city, the game throws a Sullivan's Beast at you, a massive, feral, dog-like monstrosity that screams like it's gargling nails. If you panic and try to run across the bridge, surprise! It chases you. If you stand your ground, it mauls you. Either way, this thing is your official welcome to Irithyll gift. Of course, if you get the doll first, Irithyll feels like a frozen dream you accidentally stumbled into. The soft snowfall, the glowing streets, and the looming cathedral give it an otherworldly vibe. It's peaceful. It's like if you broke up with frigid outskirt and it had a glow up. The eerie quiet just makes you more paranoid, and for good reason. When I realized this place is Anor Londo in future, shiver went down my spine, and my memories were relived. The part of Dark Souls 3 where you realize From Software just really loves poison swamps. If you thought Blighttown or Dark Souls 2's Black Gulch was bad, Farron Keep says, "Hold my Estus." It's an exercise in frustration where you're slow, poisoned, and constantly getting smacked by oversized enemies. Let's wade through this disaster, shall we? You walk in and immediately step into waist-deep swamp water. Your character is now moving at a speed best described as glacial. Oh, and the swamp? It's poisonous, because of course it is. The whole area looks like it smells terrible, with decaying trees, slimy mud, and a hazy fog that screams, "You're not making it out of here alive." Welcome to your new home. The poison swamp isn't just a feature, it's the entire level. Your movement speed is nerfed to oblivion. Rolling is basically useless, and every step you take is slowly draining your health bar. Don't even think about trying to dodge enemies here. You're going to get hit. Your goal in Farron Keep is to extinguish 3 giant flames to open the door to the Abyss Watchers. Sounds simple, right? Nope. The flames are scattered across the swamp, and the only way to reach them is by slogging through poison while dodging enemies and trying not to lose your sanity. Each flame you extinguish is accompanied by a cinematic of a door opening slightly. It's supposed to feel epic, but you're too busy cursing the swamp to care. Visually, Farron Keep is depressing. Everything is shades of brown and green, with no landmarks to guide you except for the flames. The few structures you find are either covered in moss or filled with enemies. It's a confusing, disorienting maze that makes you feel like you're going in circles, even when you're not. And let's not forget the giant crabs. They're here too, just in case you were starting to feel like this swamp wasn't bad enough. By skipping Bloodborne, we get to Sekiro, Fountainhead Palace, the crown jewel of Sekiro, where the game says, "You've made it this far, so let's turn the beauty up to 11 and the difficulty up to 12. It's a surreal, dreamlike place that feels like stepping into a Japanese painting, but don't let the serene vibes fool you. Beneath the stunning architecture and tranquil water are enemies who are very committed to ruining your day. Let's talk about this aquatic nightmare masquerading as paradise. You arrive at Fountainhead Palace after some bizarre mystical nonsense, thanks divine dragon tears, and it's instantly one of the most breathtaking locations in the game. Golden roofs, cherry blossoms in full bloom, shimmering waters. It's almost enough to make you forget how much Sekiro has hurt you. But then you notice the nobles, fishmen, and lightning-wielding lunatics waiting to remind you that this isn't a vacation spot. It's a battlefield. Fountainhead Palace is stunningly gorgeous, but also ridiculously treacherous. The golden rooftops are as slippery as they are shiny, and the sprawling waterways mean you'll spend half your time swimming, dodging arrows, and avoiding that massive carp. The interiors are just as dangerous, with tight spaces and ambushes lurking around every corner. The juxtaposition of serene beauty and overwhelming hostility perfectly captures Sekiro's vibe. Look at this gorgeous world. Now die in it. The palace's waterlogged lower areas are particularly miserable. Here you'll encounter even more nobles and spirit enemies in murky waters that make it hard to see anything. It's as if the game wants to say, remember all those stealth mechanics we taught you? Yeah, good luck using them here. The Gun Fort, where Sekiro Shadows Die Twice says, stealth? LOL, good luck with that. This place is basically a sniper's paradise, and you're the unlucky target. The second you walk in, it's like the Ashina sharpshooters collectively yell, "Light 'em up, boys!" and suddenly you're dodging bullets like a samurai Neo in the Matrix. Let's dive into this chaos-filled war zone. You step into the gun fort and immediately hear the unmistakable crack of gunfire. The architecture? Cool, but you're too busy running for your life to admire it. The entire area is perched precariously on cliffs, so every missed dodge or bad jump comes with a free gravity-induced death. The worst part? The enemies here are basically camping pros. They have perfect aim, unlimited ammo, and zero chill. Oh, and don't expect cover to save you. They'll shoot through it like it's made of paper. The gun fort doesn't care about your plans. It's pure chaos. You'll spend half your time sprinting from cover to cover, praying you don't get hit. Stealth? Good luck with that. The monks have eagle eyes and will spot you before you even think about sneaking. Deflecting bullets? Sure, if your timing is perfect. Otherwise, you're eating lead. Running for your life? Honestly, the best strategy. It was very hard to choose from Academy of Raya Lucaria and Nokron, Eternal City. But I just love the vibes and views of the Eternal Cities. You drop in and immediately feel like you've wandered into some beautiful, abandoned city frozen in time. The whole place has this eerie, majestic vibe, with glowing purple light, towering ruins. The soundtrack is so creepy and calming, and it makes you feel like you are the last of your kind. The moonlit glow and grand architecture look straight out of a fantasy movie. Nokron's layout is a mix of verticality and narrow platforms that make you feel like you're walking on the edge of a cliff at all times. You'll often find yourself climbing up or jumping across buildings, hoping that the next jump doesn't end with you falling to your death. The city's design is beautiful but confusing, with a lot of places that look similar, making it hard to keep track of where you've been. As you explore, you find yourself deeper and deeper into the city, discovering hidden areas and strange encounters. One of the more notable parts is the Ancestor Spirit boss fight. This boss is a giant, glowing spirit that teleports around the arena and hits hard. It's one of those fights where you need to stay on your toes and be ready for the unexpected. You may think I'm gonna say Lake of Rot is my least favorite, but you're wrong. It's Subterranean Shunning Grounds, or as I like to call it, FromSoft's basement of bad decisions. This place is where dreams go to die, and it feels like Miyazaki personally designed it after stepping on a Lego. If you've made it here, congratulations. You're about to experience a level so unnecessarily cruel that you'll wonder if you accidentally offended the developers in another life. You walk into this place thinking, oh, it's just a sewer. It can't be that bad, right? Wrong. It's not just a sewer. It's an endless maze of misery. The walls are gross, the floor is gross, even the enemies look like they want to quit. You'll spend most of your time falling into holes you didn't see, trying to figure out where you even are, and constantly questioning if this is really necessary for your Elden Lord ambitions. The Shunning Grounds is basically a labyrinth of pipes, narrow walkways, and pits that love to ruin your day. You'll drop down one level thinking, okay, I'll just find my way back up, only to fall again, and now you're 2 layers deeper in this sewer hellhole. Oh, and don't forget the lever puzzles. You'll wander around for what feels like hours. The Subterranean Shunning Grounds isn't just a sewer. It's a metaphor for pain. You'll get lost, fall to your death, and fight enemies so annoying they feel like personal insults. By the time you're done, you won't feel triumphant. You'll feel like you need a shower, both in-game and in real life. That was for this video. Please subscribe. I'm trying my best to make high-quality videos, and I need your support to keep going.